with full coverage of the Auburn Tigers,
Touchdown, Auburn!
the Alabama Crimson Tide,
Off to the inside, intercepted Alabama. Touchdown!
and everything college and high school sports. Now, let's join Andy, Brett, Randy, and Luke for this edition of Sports Blitz Live.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome into Sports Blitz Live. I am Andy Graham. Alongside Luke Robinson, we'll be with you for the next 2 hours, taking your phone calls, taking your comments, talking about everything going on in the world of sports. And, boy, there is a lot to talk about right now. Of course, we have the 4 teams for the college football playoff, not minus controversy. A lot of that going around. We'll talk about that tonight, bounce that around. We'll figure it out. We'll have the answers for you tonight. Between the two of us, we could probably come up with at least one. We'll talk about some of the games. There were some great games this weekend. Some of those conference games are very competitive. Came down to the wire. They were very entertaining. Some of them were not. We'll talk about those as well. That Super 7 is upon us. We do talk about some high school football from time to time, and we'll run down those, make some predictions on those. Should be some really fun games coming up the next few days, so looking forward to that. Next round of the 80s movies bracket, the 80s movie bracket. We will get down to that. We have a Final Four: Airplane, The Shining, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Die Hard. We will love to get your thoughts on that. If you got any thoughts on that, comment away, or 256-234-6221. Bowl games are out. Auburn headed to the Music City Bowl to take on Maryland. It's been a long time since Auburn and Maryland got together, 1983. That was a good one as well. Boomer Esiason on that Maryland team. But we'll run those bowl games down, kind of get a little preview of that. And, of course, we'll talk about that in depth a little bit later on in the month. But how about Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels, and Harrison from wide receiver from Ohio State? That's going to be your invited 4 to the Heisman ceremony there. I got to be Daniels has got to be the
100%.
Yeah, he's got to be the favorite.
I thought
at this
Daniels
point.
was the front runner for weeks. I mean,
I think it's going to be closer than you think. I think Bo Nix is going to get a lot of votes.
I think here's what I truly believe, that a lot of people were waiting.
Yeah, if he would have won,
they were like, look, we feel like, I mean, Daniels has got the numbers. That's not debatable, but they were like, if Nix can get him in the playoffs, and he has a pretty good game. Problem is, he had a bad game. I mean,
it wasn't a great game.
His numbers ended up being okay at the end of the game, but the game kept being like a 2-score game for a long time. So, and his first quarter was so bad that I think that hurt him. I mean, that's right when people are tuning in. You know, I would have given it to Daniels well before that, just because he's playing in a tougher conference against tougher defenses. You know, you got to count off a little something if you get to play USC's defense this year, right? I mean, good Lord. Everybody slings it all over them, don't they?
Yeah. So, yeah, NCAA basketball going on as well. SEC hitting some bumps in the road here early in the year.
We can talk about last week, Alabama lost at home to Clemson. I mean, it was a week ago. And that Clemson team's good. I think they're still undefeated. But then Sunday, I think Auburn lost to Appalachian State, and Mississippi State lost at home.
Kentucky lost at home.
Yeah, Kentucky
to
lost
Wilmington
to
or
UNC Wilmington,
yeah.
Or was it UNC Wilmington?
I think so.
Could have been. You remember this same Kentucky team also was taken to overtime by St. Joe's at home.
Well, Arkansas beats Purdue and then loses to.
Well, no, they beat Duke.
I'm talking about. Didn't they? I thought they beat Purdue earlier in the year.
They beat Purdue's first loss came to Northwestern this year.
Okay.
About a week ago, or Friday night maybe.
Okay.
So.
But yeah, they did beat Duke at home for sure.
Yeah, in fact, Alabama plays Purdue Saturday in Toronto.
Okay.
So, and when you don't have an inside game and you're going up against Zach Edey, it might not be pretty.
He might have a good game. Might do it.
That's his hometown. That's why it's sort of a tie-in.
Okay. Well, there you go. Okay, a lot to talk about. If you got any thoughts on these things, 256-234-6221 or comment away on the Sports Blitz Facebook page or YouTube page, however you want to do that. College football playoff. Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Alabama. Florida State and Georgia, 5 and 6. There was some talk about maybe somebody getting left out. Was that what happened?
All right. And I'm trying to explain this as best I can. I have no problem saying this. As somebody's already asked us, Trey Graham has said, off subject a little, but Mr. Robinson, why is everybody so mad? As apparently Ghost Rider passes by. Why everybody's so mad at Alabama for jumping Florida State, but nobody's saying anything about Texas jumping Florida State. And they sure do have a lot of hate for Bama, he says. And look, first of all, Alabama with Nick Saban has been the most polarizing, because they've been the thing for 15 years. And it's people want to see the king go down. That's what they want. And just like some people want to see Georgia go down this past weekend. And it's the way of the world. I'm fine with that. I'll also say this. When the selection show was coming on, after the Georgia game, I went to the SEC championship game. After that game, I felt very confident Alabama was getting in. I just said, look, I don't think you can keep out the SEC champ. I really believed in my heart of hearts there was a better chance Georgia and Bama get in rather than both of them be left out. That's what I really believed. And I think that Florida State, yes, you can hurt for them. I don't think there's any doubt. You can feel bad. And Jordan Travis has been nothing short of amazing about this. He's been giving well wishes to Jalen Milroe on social media. He has been a complete, just a gentleman. I mean, frankly, it's such an incredible sport. Florida State fans, maybe not so much. Danny Cannell, maybe not so much. But regardless, I get their angst. I get why they're upset. I certainly understand that. My point about this whole thing is it wouldn't have been a travesty if Florida State had gotten in and Alabama had been left out. If Alabama and Florida State get in and Texas is left out. If Georgia and Texas get in and Alabama and FSU are left out. There was a pool of teams to choose from, about 6 teams. And you could make a case for all of them. I certainly would have said, here's my deal. I would have put Georgia in and kept Michigan out, because when you cheat on the field, again, an institutional thing. Everybody tugs at a jersey trying to not get seen as a defensive back. Every offensive lineman probably tries to get a hold of underneath your shoulder pads, whatever. But when you cheat as an institution and your coach is suspended 3 games on the back end, and he was suspended 3 games in the beginning of the season for an earlier issue, why are they rewarded for this? Why do they get to play for the biggest prize? That's where I think the integrity of the game is at stake, not this. And yes, I think it's got to be hurting for Mike Norvell and for the Florida State players. But if Alabama had been left out, it would have been hurting too, because you played a much tougher schedule than Florida State. That's not debatable. That is just not. Florida State's strength of schedule is 55. Alabama's is 5th. And Florida State's best win is LSU. And that's a nice win. That's a good win. That quarterback's going to win the Heisman Trophy. I give them credit for scheduling it. But that's Alabama's 3rd best win. They've also beat the number 1 team in the country, who had won 29 straight. They also beat Ole Miss, who only has 2 losses, to Alabama and Georgia, by the way. And then they also beat LSU. And on top of that, they have a win over Tennessee, who's also ranked. And their loss is to a Texas team that's also in the playoffs. So I feel like there was a lot of ways to go with this thing. The people who are just crying foul and the system's broken and everything's awful, that's just the hyperbolic society we live in. Everything's awful or everything's the best. And it's really sort of in between.
Look, I would have said, and I said this last week, and we had this conversation, maybe it was 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago. I can't remember, because I was looking ahead and I said, I don't think it would be right. How do you look at those Florida State players and say, just because you had an injury you lost your quarterback, then you should be punished for it. I thought that was wrong. We had that conversation. And that, whether that was – and I think that's ultimately why they jumped Alabama, because it's not the only reason, but I think it's the ultimate reason, is because if Jordan Travis was playing, he was healthy, do you still think Alabama would be in?
Maybe.
So that's a no.
No. Not over Florida State, though. Maybe over Texas.
Okay. Well.
And then you get hung up on the head-to-head thing.
Okay.
I'm just saying, here's
my
thing,
and the rest of the country was too. But no,
they weren't. There were a lot of people who said Texas should be out and Florida State should be in.
Well, I mean, the committee felt like that because they wouldn't have put them at third.
I understand. Rick Newhouse has an interesting hypothesis. That
No. Let's just go back to this for a second. Okay, so if Jordan Travis is playing, then it's more than likely that Florida State's still in.
I agree with that.
Okay, so they are out more for the most part because Jordan Travis is not playing. So that part is wrong. But again, like you say, and I agree with most of what you said, it's an impossible decision. And this is a pretty unique year in that I like to say I would vote for the four most deserving teams, but this year there are about 6 or 7 really deserving teams to have a chance to play for a national championship. It doesn't usually work out that way, but this year it did. I feel bad for Florida State, but I mean, look, when Alabama beat Georgia, I feel like you almost have to put them in, and by that rationale, you have to put in Texas, in my opinion.
Yeah, you would. Yeah.
So therefore, Georgia's out. So somebody's going to get left out. It'd have to be Florida State. I think I don't like it. I think it's wrong, but I think it's right.
Yeah.
So
and that's because of that is why I get so I've just grown so weary of the faux outrage. Everybody, this is just off on those kids.
It's not a travesty. It's not a travesty.
There's always somebody that gets hurt. There's always somebody that gets left out of something. And it's part of – everybody talks about – I've heard a lot of analysts say, we always teach football is the ultimate team sport. There's no I in team. And now they're putting the I in team with saying without that quarterback. You know what else is a good life lesson? That sometimes things don't go your way. Life's not always fair.
Yeah.
And I think that's another great life lesson. And again, we've all been on the other end of this. And
I will say this, though. The committee did kind of go down the middle of the road. They didn't really stick to the 4 best teams because if they would, Georgia would still be in there. And they certainly would be at 6.
Now, I think they threw Florida State a bone.
That's
what I think. And I think that they overthought that. I think clearly what I would have said is that, again, I know in your world, you make sure Texas is in there over Bama. I get it. In my world, Michigan's out because of what they did. So in my world, I would not have Michigan. I would have Georgia in there along with Bama, Texas, and Washington. That's what I would have. Now, if you make me put Michigan in there, if you say there's no other way, you have to put them in there. Okay, I'll put Michigan in there. I'll put Washington in there, and now I'm struggling. But I think you have to put, again, if you go to the head-to-head thing, then you're going to put Alabama in. They did win the conference, and they did defeat the number 1 team. And then I would probably go with it's tough, but I would probably go with Texas and Bama. But I might put Georgia in over Texas and just put them at the 4 and put Bama at the 3. That's what I might do. Again, this is why it's very difficult. And here's another thing. For all the people just so mad, and the ACC has come out and just banging their fists, and all these politicians are bloviating. Is there anything that, by the way, everybody should be mad that any politician is saying anything about this? Number one, nothing's going to happen. There's nothing you can do. And secondly, do something to help fix the country a little bit. There's some other problems. This isn't one of them. Now,
and by the way, we could have had a 12-team playoff this year. And if ACC had voted for it.
The ACC decided to join the alliance, which was, doomed from the start, and we could have had a 12-team playoff this year. And had we had that, this wouldn't be an issue. So it is what it is. And, now I say, hey, everybody's got to move on, because in the end, as badly as everybody feels for Florida State, and even me as the Alabama fan, I feel bad for Florida State. We got 2 really awesome games. I'm talking about badass historical games in fun venues.
They'll probably be blowouts.
Well, we
got to take a break. We're up. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started. More to come right after these important messages.
Sportz Auto Sales, Highway 280 in Kellyton, Alabama, is home-owned and home-operated. If you're looking for tires, they have it. If you're looking for a vehicle, they have them. Great selection. Always out looking for more just for you, the customer. And if you're looking for service, whether you buy the vehicle from them or whether you buy the vehicle somewhere else, they do service work and got a great crew there. Keep us in mind. Don't you go by Sportz Auto Sales on Highway 280 in Kellyton today.
What's the verdict?
Can't fix your heat pump. Need a new one.
Uh-oh. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking Daikin.
Call on Kevin Kill in Sunshine Heating and Air at 256-825-4849, Central Alabama's premier Daikin dealer.
So what's he thinking?
Oh, he's thinking Daikin.
Daikin, one of the top selling in the world.
Now I'm thinking Daikin.
Daikin. Comfort for life.
Russell Do-It Center and building supply stores have the tools and materials to get the job done right, whether you're a professional contractor or just a weekend do-it-yourselfer. With everyday customer conveniences like a drive-through lumber yard, price match promise, and our Best Rewards program, each of our 9 locations offer top brands and building materials like lumber, hardware, tools, paint, lawn and garden, and much more. Visit today and see what Russell Do-It Center and Building Supply can help you build tomorrow.
The Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro continues to excel in making sure our clients have a smooth and pleasant experience with home financing needs. Families are struggling to make ends meet due to price increases and high interest rates on credit cards. Monthly debt can cripple a family from enjoying the special times in life. Property values are holding strong, and now is the time to take advantage of the equity in your home, saving hundreds of dollars a month. No money out of pocket and no payment until January 2024. Call the Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro today.
I'm Karen Chanel, your State Farm agent in Alexander City, Alabama, and the greater Lake Martin area. I want to talk to you a little bit today about your discounts. How many of you are entitled to discounts that you may or may not be receiving? One of the easiest discounts on your homeowner's insurance is that of having a fire extinguisher. Coupled with a deadbolt lock and a smoke alarm, that gives you an automatic discount on your homeowner's policy.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area a team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice. Bice Motors.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live. Andy and Luke here with you. Just getting started on tonight's show, and already the calls are coming in. So let's get some comments, and then we'll get to your phone call.
First of all, Trey Graham says, do you think TCU losing so badly last year has something to do with this? It could. You know what? I wouldn't blame them. It's not just TCU. I would also say Cincinnati's getting in and really being non-competitive against Alabama probably didn't help either.
For the record, I think Florida State, with a backup quarterback, would have been very competitive against Michigan. I'm just going to say that.
Well, yeah, because TCU was too. That doesn't make me feel any better about a championship game, though. 93 for FSU. For those who don't know, Florida State in 1993 went to Notre Dame. They lose. The next week, Notre Dame loses at home to Boston College as a favorite. Okay, so they both have one loss. West Virginia, meanwhile, is sitting out there undefeated. Now, they hadn't played as tough a schedule as Florida State. And when it all comes down to it, Florida State ends up playing for the national championship. I believe they played Nebraska. And And everybody's like, Danny Cannell, who's having a hissy fit every morning on air, everybody's like, hey, Danny, are you going to return your national championship ring? He's like, well, that's different. We didn't have a committee and we didn't have this. Yeah, but it's not different. It's the same. And he said, well, that West Virginia team got blown out in the bowl game. Guess what? Florida State's about to get blown out in the bowl game. As Hammer Hall, who is the resident Georgia fan, says, they're mad in Athens. We're fitting to push Norvell and the Noles, and I totally agree with them. We got a caller. Let's go to it. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, good afternoon. Good evening, guys. How y'all doing?
Hey, Terry, what's up?
I'm kind of tired of the playoff thing, to tell you the truth. It's kind of worn on me because I'm just sick of hearing about it because Florida State ain't going to win no love in my heart ever since they beat Auburn in 13. Jimbo Fisher rode the right arm and the two legs of Jameis Winston, and he found out he's really a pretty lousy coach.
He rode the right arm and the crab legs of Jameis Winston. That's another way to put it.
And another thing, too, people aren't even talking about the fact that I think it would have been more of a factor if Louisville had beat Kentucky. I think that's more of a factor than people are saying. I really believe that.
I'll tell you something, Terry. That is true, and that's a good point because one thing Danny Cannell keeps saying is the ACC has a winning record against the SEC. True, but what he doesn't tell you is two of the wins are over South Carolina, who's not going bowling. One of the wins is over Florida, who's not going bowling. And one of the wins is over Vanderbilt, who's not going bowling. When you take out those terrible teams, they don't have a winning record against the SEC this year. So I think that's got to factor in. And, again, as you said, Kentucky went to Louisville. It's at Louisville's place, and they beat them. And what it did was cheapen the championship game for the ACC. You're absolutely right.
Right. I tell you Danny Cannell's story, Luke, real quick. I sat behind Danny Cannell in a restaurant in Atlanta back in early 2000s.
Oh, man. I do not envy you.
I have a friend of mine who's stationed in the military out in the Los Angeles area.
Yeah.
And he has said, and I don't know this, I want you guys, the quarterback for USC, the Caleb Williams, transfer for Oklahoma, is he a junior or senior?
He's a junior.
Okay, that his dad is one of those interfering fathers, kind of like the kid that played for the Lakers, Ball, I think was his name. And he has openly said publicly that if he got the first pick, he may come back. Have you guys heard that?
He said some things like that. Another thing he said not too terribly long ago was, when I negotiate my first-round pick, I want to be part owner of the team. Nobody is going to give him ownership of the team. And, in fact, I mean, frankly, he won the Heisman last year, and he's really good. He's really talented. But he doesn't seem like the world's best teammate. I don't know. I mean, something about him just doesn't seem quite right. And then when you think about how well USC performed, now a lot of that was their defense. But, yeah, he's certainly – and maybe some of it is their head coach too. But, yeah.
I mean, Chicago has the first pick, correct?
Everybody is saying he's going to be the first pick. Me personally, I wouldn't – if my pro team picked not Jaden Daniels, Drake May. Jaden Daniels, a lot of people think is going to be the fourth quarterback after Shadur Sanders, Deion's son.
Well, I'll tell you what, I take him. I think he's got a good future.
I do too.
Best combination of running and passing I've seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, he's really smooth, and he's a leader. You know, look, his defense let him down several times this year too. I mean, without Jaden Daniels, this was one way that somebody decided they when they were talking about the Heisman, he said, put Bo Nix on LSU and put Jaden Daniels on Oregon. Now what? And my bet is LSU has a worse record, and Oregon's record is at least the same. That's my bet.
Yeah, well, I just think people are missing the boat. But hey, here's my thinking on the NFL draft. If you go down, if you get fourth quarterback, like you said, Luke, you go to a team that's either in the playoffs or right there on the fringe of it. So I would like it personally. The Bears or whoever the first pick is, they're not going to the playoffs in the next 5 years.
Yeah, you know, the Bears, they have Justin Fields. They're in a bit of a conundrum. I mean, are they going to give up on him? Because, you know, you give up on quarterbacks very, very quickly these days. You don't give them time to – you throw them to the Wolves immediately. You don't give them time to develop. And if they aren't superstars immediately, you just kick them to the curb. And some teams can get in a vicious cycle of that. The Bears are one of them.
Yeah. Appreciate it, guys. You have a good evening.
Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
Yeah, the Bears, you know, they've been through Mitchell Trubisky, and they've been through now Justin Fields, and it just feels like they can't get it right. And if I'm the Bears and I'm looking for a leader, I'm not taking Caleb Williams.
Outside of a blip on the which I mean they got him, they got to the Super Bowl and lost to Peyton Manning, but they hadn't gotten it right since 1985. So we got to take another break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Hillaby Towers is an affordable senior citizens community located in Alexander City on Highway 22 East. Spacious one-bedrooms are available now. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed, and utilities are included. Call today to find out more information on Alexander City's best-kept secret, 256-329-0552. That's Hillaby Towers in Alexander City.
Sign Source is your local vendor for commercial and residential sign manufacturing and installation. We offer all kinds of lighted and non-lighted signage, from retail signs, LED message centers, event banners, vehicle wraps, the whole spectrum. We also offer service and repair on existing signs, as well as retrofitting to LED or installation of outsourced signage. We have the knowledge necessary to fulfill all of your signage needs in the short or long term. Visit signsourcenow.com to get started.
Satterfield Outdoor Living is Lake Martin's trusted friend for your outdoor land and leisure needs. We're the region's authorized Skag mower dealer for residential and commercial lawns and offer all the small engine accessories you need. With top lines of Steel, Echo, Shindaiwa, Husqvarna, and Metabo products that can tame any landscape. Satterfield is also your grill headquarters with Big Green Egg Grill. And our pros service everything in-house and back up all sales. Get the Satterfield Outdoor difference on Highway 280 right across from Tallapoosa Ford.
You want the best opportunity to be successful in life. You deserve that opportunity. Well, you just happens to be in our motto. Central to you, central to your success. Your future is right now. Don't wait. Make your dreams a reality by enrolling at Central Alabama Community College. Register today at cacc.edu.
Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center provides optimum care for the whole person. Dr. Dimo Popov specializes in the prevention and diagnosis of high blood pressure, kidney disease, diabetes, and acute and chronic conditions. Our weight loss clinic offers lipo shots and a guide to healthy weight loss. Alex City Internal Medicine and Nephrology and Weight Loss Center, where lifestyle changes are made.
Black Friday deals are here all month long at Opel Like a Ford. Get 3.9% for 60 months on all new 2023 Ford F-150s or 1.9% for 60 months on 2023 Ford Edges. Only at Opel Like a Ford. Black Friday deals are here all month long at Opel Like a CDJR. Get 2.9% financing for 72 months on new Ram 1500 or 15% off MSRP on new Jeep Compass. Only at Opel Like a CDJR.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live. Andy and Luke here with you. About 30 more minutes in the first hour of tonight's program. We'll go back to the phone line.
Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, guys, it's JJ. How are you?
Hey, JJ. What's up, buddy?
Hey, I just, normally I just listen, and but I wanted to weigh in a little bit on this, on the playoff thing, if y'all don't mind.
Sure. By all means.
I've got family that lives in Florida, lived in Florida a long time. My niece went to Florida State, and she's heartbroken, and all the Florida State fans are heartbroken, and I get it, and they should be. At the same time, I think when you look at the charter, when you look at the protocol of the committee and what they were asked to look at, right, nowhere in there does it say undefeated is automatic. It says you go by conference championships, you weigh that heavily. Your next one is strength of schedule. And then your next one is common opponents or head-to-head. And then after that, any other relevant things like unavailable coaches or players that may have affected a past outcome or may affect the future outcome. So I think when you look at those and when you look at the protocols that the committee was given, this was almost where they were left. I think if Georgia had won, I still think Florida State gets left out because I think Texas gets the 4 after going out there and just completely destroying Oklahoma State. I don't think, even if Georgia Travis said there's a reason the committee watches Championship Saturday all together, because they want to see how you're performing at the end of the year. And Florida State, I mean, it's 3-3 in the second half of that game. They looked awful.
It was
and
disgusting.
They looked bad against Florida, having to come from behind against a pretty bad Florida team. Then when you weigh that with strength of schedule, it's one of those years where you had 5, and Andy, I know you love the deserving thing. You had 5 deserving conference champions. And so then you got to parse it out with things like strength of schedule. You got to parse it out on the head-to-head common opponents. You got to parse it out on those things. And I personally, I would have had Florida State at 6 or maybe even 7, depending on what I did with Ohio State. But if I'm looking at 4 best teams, I think they got close to it. I still think Georgia's one of the 4 best, but it would have been hard to put them in that field.
JJ, and I think that's another thing and that I struggle with myself is people love to say, well, if you knew the 4 best, you got to include Georgia. And while I agree with that, I think it's the 4 best within a certain parameter. Obviously, let's say if LSU only had 2 losses or whatever, or if you think LSU is one of the 4 best teams, which most people don't, let's pretend like for a second, you can say, man, they had such bad luck. They lost, 3 games on last-second field goals to awesome teams on the road. But you also do have to win some games. I mean, you can't have 3 losses. Now, next year, here's another thing that bothers me. When people say most deserving, and they also say, well, Florida State won all the games in front of them. That's very true. Liberty did too. And then they go, well, they don't play anybody. And my argument would be Florida State's strength of schedule was 55. 55. And
the best team they played was LSU with 3 losses.
Correct. And I think, and look, their conference let them down a little bit too. And you say, well, there's Power 5. That's different. Hey, what we're about to find out, apparently there's new legislation being put out there that potentially we go to a system where you really have the haves and the have-nots. Now, Alabama and Auburn aren't going to be affected because they'll be in the haves category. But I saw the teams that wouldn't make the cut, Wake Forest, West Virginia, a lot of teams that we all know pretty well, they're not going to make the cut. So what I'm saying is people can say the ACC is better this year. It may be a little better, I don't know, but their bell cow is typically Clemson. They stunk.
I don't know how you could argue the ACC is better, even though I thought Florida State was really, really good all year. There was no other team in that conference that I would consider a really good team. Nobody. I literally nobody.
Let's also say this, JJ.
The problem is when you reward an undefeated week schedule against strength of schedule, the problem you set up is if I'm Alabama or if I'm Georgia or if I'm Ohio State, Michigan, whoever, my non-conference schedule, Western Michigan, Louisiana Lafayette, give me maybe some Samford, and let me get a little bit of, Idaho in there. I don't know. But you're never going to get the high-profile non-conference games if you know that you can go 12-1 and that be the reason you get left out as a conference champion. So I don't know. It's one of those weird years. It's the first time ever that you had 5 deserving conference champions. And so then you've got to get in the weeds to parse that out, in my opinion. And they did. And look, is it the right decision? I don't know if there's a right or wrong decision, but it was the one they made. Anyway, I'll hang up and listen. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, JJ. And I think he's absolutely right. If Alabama had not gotten in, the first thing I do, if I'm Greg Byrne, is I call Wisconsin and say we're canceling our home and home starting next year. I call Florida State, by the way, who Alabama travels to start a home and home in 2025. I say I'm canceling that. I'm not playing you. I'm playing, North Georgia. I'm not doing this because my schedule is tough enough. I mean, you think about Alabama next year in the SEC, they got to travel to Oklahoma, they got to travel to LSU, travel to Knoxville, and they get Georgia and Auburn at home. That's pretty deadgum daunting. And then you add in at Madison, Wisconsin. That's pretty difficult. So if I'm Alabama, that's the first thing I'd do. And what the committee has tried to do, at least they told us this, was that we want to factor in strength. We want to encourage big, good games because nobody likes to watch Alabama Mercer, Auburn, Alabama A&M. They just don't like to watch it. Now, you like to take your kids to the game because it's easy, it's cheap, and you can leave when you want to. But nobody really likes to see it, and especially on a national level.
Well, now you say that, and okay, so Florida State they're in the ACC. They can't control how good or bad their opponents are. They played 2 SEC teams.
Granted,
out of conference.
They sure did.
That's more than anybody. I mean, you can't schedule any harder than that.
Oh, yeah, you can. Florida's doing it next year. Florida's playing Florida State, Central Florida, and Miami of Florida.
That is not as hard as playing 2 SEC teams, plus Florida, right?
Well, I think I would definitely challenge playing UCF, Miami, and Florida State is tougher than playing a Florida team that's not going to a bowl game.
I'm not deciding. Well,
and LSU.
But again, you can't. I mean, you don't know. I mean, you schedule these things in advance. You put 2 SEC. I mean, you're going to play Florida every year, but you have 2 SEC teams on there. I mean, then 2. I mean, prime time names on there. You don't know how good they're going to be.
And that part is true. I certainly sympathize with that. And that's where I would say if I'm Florida State, my anger is directed not towards the committee, but towards my crappy conference. You know, I mean, honestly, if I'm Florida State, that's why that's why Florida State was trying to get out of the ACC. They probably still want to get out. They look around and they go, we're spending a bunch of money. We're trying to be nationally relevant. And, you know, there you got NC State and Wake Forest and Virginia, and they're just sort of like, yeah, I mean, if we win, great. If we don't, hey, it gives a whoop. And that's why we need to really pare down how many teams there are. And we need to just go to more of an NFL model. I've been saying that for a while. Everybody, we got NIL now. We got this transfer portal free agency. Let's just go to NFL model. I mean, again, as an Alabama fan, I'm fine with it. But if you're a fan of West Virginia, you're probably not going to like it.
No, I would imagine not.
Makes for a lot better games, though. A lot more good games. Now, the problem is all the years of 13-0 and all that stuff, they're going by the wayside. We're going to have a lot of NFL-esque, in the playoffs, it's going to be 7-6 Auburn taking on 6-7 Oklahoma State, in the first round. I mean, I don't want to see that, but it's coming. You can see it coming.
Yeah. Well, take a break on that and think about that and pause and ponder that future, that dystopian future
it is a dystopian
that we're all
future.
looking forward. We'll be back with more Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
76% of nurses say they went into the profession because they wanted to help patients. No matter the reason you decided to become a nurse, you have all the tools needed to advance your degree at Jacksonville State University. Our Master's in Nursing program is now offered fully online and can be completed in less than 2 years. You can customize a flexible course schedule so you can receive your advanced education degree all while working on the front line. JSU Nursing, your opportunity to advance your career and serve your community.
This is Joseph Dean with Alabama Funeral Homes. As many of you are aware, we had a fire that significantly damaged our facilities. We are in the process of getting those rebuilt. We apologize for any inconvenience this may have caused the families that we serve. I want you to know that we are capable of handling all of your needs at Frederick Dean Funeral Home of Opelika, which will be servicing Alabama Funeral Homes families. We can be reached at our same number, 256-896-4502, or by email at joseph@alabamafuneralhomes.com.
You've dreamed about the perfect house, a place to call your own, and a place to not only stretch out, but to grow. Auto Owners protects your house because to you, it's home. That's simple human sense. Happy to help, man. I was just over there talking to myself anyway.
Frontline Outfitters provides all your aftermarket parts for your cars, trucks, and as well as your professional tinting solutions for auto, residential, and commercial buildings. Frontline Outfitters also handles vinyl wraps, spray-in bed liners, truck accessories, LED lighting, paint correction and detailing, and much more. Make sure Frontline Outfitters of Alexander City is your first call for tinting and aftermarket solutions. Call us today, 256-409-8100.
Hillaby Towers is an affordable senior citizens community located in Alexander City on Highway 22 East. Spacious one-bedrooms are available now. Great location, peaceful setting, comfortable living where pets are allowed and utilities are included. Call today to find out more information on Alexander City's best-kept secret, 256-329-0552. That's Hillaby Towers in Alexander City.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live. Andy and Luke here with you. Some good conversation, some good talk about the playoff. I'm with Terry. I'm about sick of it.
I am too. Listen, I couldn't be any more sick of it. In fact, here's one thing that bothers me is the SEC championship game was the most watched championship game in 10 years or something. It's the most streamed college football game ever or something. I mean, it was a big deal. And we haven't even had a chance to even talk about any of the game because this has taken over the whole thing. I say that all the time about winning the SEC basketball tournament. You're like, yeah, we won. All right, let's get home and see where we're seated. You don't even get a moment to enjoy it. But yeah, so that I went to the game this weekend. It was a ton of fun. The crowd was fantastic. I'm going to say this again, that I think the best thing that could have happened to Alabama in a sense, and here's in a bit of irony, is losing to Texas and then playing South Florida where Nick Saban says, all right, y'all don't think Jalen Milroe's the answer. I'm going to show Ty Buckner, take it. And now Tyler Buckner, as of yesterday, has entered the transfer portal, not for football, but to play lacrosse. And he's also going to go do it back at Notre Dame. Now, he may still play on the football team or whatever. But and I'm not making fun of him necessarily, but, it's one of those be careful what you wish for things. Ty Buckner, just for whatever reason, I mean, he's a really good athlete. He really, truly is. But it wasn't a good fit at Alabama. For whatever reason, it's not. He's just not. I mean, Auburn's seen it with T.J. Lindsey. T.J. Finley is kicking butt. T.J. Lindsey, I think, is a recruit they have now. I think even Calzada is somewhere doing well right now or something.
Incarnate Word.
Yeah, Incarnate Word. And but, sometimes it's just not a good fit for whatever reason, and he just didn't work out. And but without him
seems to happen a lot at Auburn.
Yeah. But without Ty Buckner going out there and frankly not looking good, stinking it up, we don't reinvest as a fan base in Jalen Milroe the way we did. Now, maybe that's unfair to Jalen Milroe. Maybe we're like, well, we love you now because we got to have you. But then he became actually very lovable. And, he still makes mistakes. He still does some things, but his ceiling keeps growing and his floor keeps being the same. The floor is still there. He still does some things that blow your mind occasionally for the bad, but he's doing a lot more for the good now. He had no turnovers against Georgia. This defense, this Georgia defense is very, very good. Alabama's offensive line handled them well. Give Caden Proctor a lot of credit, the true freshman that took his lumps early in the season. He really had a wonderful game against Georgia.
Is it not weird that Alabama's offensive line seems to struggle blocking a lot of teams except Georgia? That happened 2 years ago.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Because you're saying if you juxtapose the Auburn game to the Georgia game, you're absolutely right. And again, my theory on this has always been, especially these last few years, look, Auburn had the luxury of saying, this is the game, do this, and all will be forgiven. And Alabama's sort of looking at, okay, we got to go to Jordan-Hare, which is already this mythical place for them to go, and they also got to play Georgia the next week. They can't help but look ahead a little bit. And then Auburn comes out there and plays with their hair on fire, and before you know it, Alabama's like, wait a minute, now all the momentum is in their court, and we can't get it back. And And it's fine to do that at Vanderbilt, give them a little momentum. They're not going to do anything. You do it at Auburn, you're going to generally get beat. So it's just a little different. But you're right. I think also that's why I'm really loving this team more than I really thought I would. That this is more of an Auburn-type team. You know, Alabama's usually very businesslike, joyless murder ball. We always joke about it. And we're so used to just – you go out there and we'll figure out a way to win. Then we all go home and just look at the stats and study it and do everything like what Alabama fans do. But this year we've been, on pins and needles. I mean, Tennessee had a 27 lead at the half. LSU was tied with us at 21, and we didn't know we could stop Jaden Daniels. Arkansas made a big comeback on us. Auburn certainly fought us to the very end. I mean, literally. So, I mean, we didn't know. And so to go to play Georgia and essentially have a 2-score lead, every time Georgia got within one, we answered. That was the key. And I attribute a lot of that to Jalen Milroe. I also give Tommy Rees a lot of credit, the offensive coordinator. He was very aggressive when, frankly, I thought he was going to go into a shell. Like when Georgia scored that touchdown from 1 yard out, their second-to-last touchdown, and Alabama got the ball back, I said, we're going to run the ball 3 times and just hope for the best and then put our defense back out there and see what they can do. Instead, he throws a pass to Isaiah Bond. First play, he gains about 17 yards, gives Milroe confidence. They go down the field and end up scoring another touchdown. It was very impressive from a young offensive coordinator and very impressive from Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, I watched the game. I mean, it was it was what I expected it to be. It was back and forth. I thought, Georgia – I'm sure Georgia fans can say, well, I mean, they were not healthy. There was, and clearly McConkey was not healthy.
He wasn't 100%.
He wasn't even 75%. I thought, tight end was Bowers was pretty good, but it just I thought Alabama played a little bit better.
Yep.
I mean, that's just a bottom line.
And I'm going to tell you something, that when the SEC championship is Alabama and Georgia, it's like must-watch TV. I mean, you think about the first time they met was 2012. That's probably the best championship game ever. And if that's not it, it's probably 2018 when Jalen Hurts comes in for Tua, and then the Bryce Young game. Yeah, I know Alabama ended up winning by a lot, but that game meant a lot, and Alabama had struggled the week before with Auburn, and Bryce Young throws some of the most yards ever in SEC title. And then this game was fantastic. I mean, it really was on pins and needles for everybody. Great crowd both ways. Just so much fun. I mean, look, I'm going to tell you something. I don't know how many Georgia fans we got watching, and there's some – it's funny. There's a show – I do the Locked On Bama. There's a Locked On Bulldogs for the Georgia crowd. And those two guys, man, they're pretty confident. I mean, like confident all the time. They kept saying how this is going to put Nick Saban out to pasture, the new, move out of the way, new king, all this stuff. And, I kept saying, hey, I'm not talking smack back because they might be right. I don't know. And then they didn't even eat their humble pie afterwards. They were like, this is a blip on the radar. We'll be back. Can't believe we're not in the playoffs kind of thing. But I'll say this, man. I always think Georgia and Alabama should have a ton of respect for each other. I know it's become a little bit more of a rivalry, but and next year they play in the regular season. But these are the two teams that have been the it for a good while now, and it's really tough being king of the mountain. It really is. I mean, everybody's like, oh, king of the mountain problems. I get it, but everybody's gunning for you all the time. And Georgia sees what that's like a little bit. It's tough, and they win 29 games in a row in the SEC. I know some of the games were pretty easy. I know they didn't have all these very difficult non-conference games, but I don't care. They had 29 games in a row. It's never been done before in SEC history. It's pretty unbelievable.
And again, I'll say there's a reason somebody hadn't won 3 in a row.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. Got to take a break. We'll be back with more Sports Blitz Live right after this.
Whether it's Lake Martin, Lay Lake, or Logan Martin, boaters from all over the state of Alabama come to Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama, because it's worth the drive. With the best deals on unbeatable Suzuki outboards, Manitou and Landau Tritoons, and a great pre-owned inventory while they last. Alex City Marine is the pros the locals know. And no matter where you're from, when you're here, you're local to us. Alex City Marine, just off Highway 280 in Alexander City, Alabama. AlexCityMarine.com.
It's truck season, at Sarah Automotive. New Honda Ridgelines, $349 a month. Ford Rangers, $357 a month. Nissan Frontiers, $379 a month. And Chevrolet Silverados, $399 a month at Sarah Automotive. Plus, you get a lifetime warranty, no charge, engine, powertrain, and more. It's truck season at Sarah Honda, Tony Sarah Ford, Sarah Nissan, and Sarah Chevrolet.
You don't have to ask who, what, or why. Who's Diner is the go-to place for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Conveniently located at the corner of Highway 22 and 280 in Alex City. Who's Diner offers the best meals and the best deals in town. Try our fresh, made-from-scratch pancakes, chicken salad, Philly cheesesteak, or the Who Burger. It doesn't get any better than who? Who's Diner, of course, on the corner of Highway 22 and 280. Who's hungry? The same professionals you've trusted with your urgent care is now your primary health provider, Main Street Family Care. We provide annual physical exams as well as monitoring health conditions such as high blood pressure, diabetes, asthma, and more. All major insurances accepted, Medicaid, Medicare, and have self-pay options to accommodate everyone. See us in Alex City, just across from Walmart. Your care is our primary concern.
Main Street Family Urgent Care. Heal better, feel better fast.
Lewis Pest Control is now serving Alexander City and the entire Lake Martin area. They've been family owned and operated for over 60 years. Whether it's residential, commercial, or industrial, Lewis has environmentally safe products for all your pest control needs. Lewis Pest Control.
Lay your best to rest. Call the best. Lewis Pest Control.
Let Riverbank and Trust open doors for you. Whether you're purchasing land, a lot by the lake, or building or buying a home, begin with Tallapoosa County's loan experts. They'll guide you through the entire process, providing local decision-making, prompt responses, and the best real estate loan solutions for your unique needs. And in most cases, Riverbank and Trust can close your loan in 30 days or less, and they'll walk by your side every step of the way. It's all just part of the Riverbank and Trust difference. We invite you to experience it for yourself.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live. Andy and Luke here with you. One more segment in the first hour of tonight's program. You want to wrap up any more of these? The Oregon-Washington game was very entertaining as well. Part two there. I think you could have seen that one coming, I think, if you step back, because Washington sat there and for a week and a half, everybody said, yeah, you're no good. That was a fluke the first time. Yeah. Oregon, Oregon's a 9-point favorite in this one. And Oregon didn't even think about stopping Washington in that game.
No, and you're absolutely right. I mean, Washington, a 10-point underdog, and they just take care of business. Penix, the lefty, he's a lot of fun to watch. The game was in Vegas. I don't think it was quite full, but you know what? I love the venue. I think if you have, if you had that as the Big Ten championship game, and let's say Michigan's playing Oregon or Ohio State's playing Oregon, I think then it would be full. I think that maybe Washington didn't draw quite enough yet. But
no Pac-12 title game has ever been full.
That is sort of true, too. Well, and some of them even been like on the home field of one of the teams. But, something that Washington really needs to pound the sand about, now, again, it changes next year with 12 teams, but Washington's been to 2 playoffs now. I mean, Oregon hadn't done that.
No.
Penn State hadn't been to 1. Tennessee hadn't been to 1. Texas has only been to 1. I mean, some big-name teams, Florida hadn't been to 1. I mean, Florida State's only been to 1. Miami hadn't been to 1. What I'm saying is, that's pretty doggone good for a program, and Washington needs to be pounding their chest about that, and they need to be selling it. I mean, now with the 12 teams, it's going to be a little different. But, the other thing that's funny is people keep saying, well, Florida, you win all your games, and you should be in. And then I come back with the Liberty argument, and they say, well, it's not the same. Okay, but guess what? In this particular, if the 12 team were already here, guess who'd be in? Liberty. They have the 133rd ranked schedule in the country. And they get rewarded for playing a bunch of high schools. There's something wrong with that, and that's why I hate automatic qualifiers, and that's why I hate the setup. I don't mind the 12 anymore. I'm embracing that. I just hate the automatic qualifier, and you have to have a group of 5. And that's why I think what's going to happen is the big boys are going to say, we don't want to give Liberty any of our money. They contribute nothing all year, and then they just show up. It's like if you had a family member that does nothing all year. They don't help cooking, cleaning, paying rent, and they just show up at Christmas, go, where's my gift?
Yeah.
And they don't bring any, you know? And we all have family members like that.
Yeah. What were you talking about? You're talking about legislation that's kicking people
Somebody
out.
has proposed that, and in fact, I'll look it up here.
Somebody, a senator?
Well, I don't know. I'm going to let you know here in just a second.
Of some sort.
I know.
Some representative of our government.
Yes, there's the NCAA President Baker recently highlighted $100 million as an example of the cutoff line between schools who were committed to athletics and could afford a new level of or structure, and those who may need to reconsider resources and commitment. So the point is, the NCAA president is saying, hey, I got an idea here.
All those that are generate above 100 million,
Yeah.
or their budget is above 100 million?
Correct. And let me tell you, I'm going to read most of this list, okay? Of course, Ohio State, and I'm not going to read all the numbers, but Ohio State is at 209 million, LSU at 192, then Texas 192, USC, Oklahoma, Florida, Michigan, Alabama, Penn State, Notre Dame, Georgia, Texas A&M, Stanford, Tennessee is now I'm at 152 million, Kentucky at 148, Arkansas, Duke, Florida State, Auburn's at 146. South Carolina, Clemson, Louisville, TCU, Washington, Wisconsin, UCLA, Rutgers, Michigan State, Iowa, Nebraska, Ole Miss, Pittsburgh, Oregon, Virginia, Kansas, North Carolina, Arizona, blah, 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 all the way down to Oklahoma State at 100.4 million. The ones who wouldn't make the list if we did this new structure, you got to be generating $100 million in revenue. The ones who wouldn't make the list. And again, if somebody's mad that one of these teams be left out, tell me, but I'd be okay if these teams were left out. Texas Tech, West Virginia, Colorado, Boston College, UConn, Georgia Tech, Utah, Purdue.
Deion would be upset.
Deion might not be there long enough. Syracuse, Kansas State, Iowa State, BYU, SMU, Houston, Central Florida, and Cincinnati. Cincinnati generates $60.5 million in revenue. And so what the NCAA president is saying, okay, instead of
what we've been saying all along,
exactly,
is just a little bit higher dividing line.
Well,
so how many teams was that in that top echelon?
I didn't count, but it was every SEC team because I looked for that.
Okay.
Every single, so it's 14.
Vandy generates more than 100 million.
In fact, I was shocked because I was like, yeah, we need to get rid of Vandy. I mean, they're not even trying anymore. They got the scoreboards being held up by a crane. Vandy generates more revenue than Mississippi State, NC State, Arizona State, Oklahoma State, and just under Baylor at 110. Now, it's not like they're breaking the thing, but I mean, I'm okay with that setup.
Sure.
And the reason I am is because, look, I understand if you're a fan of Cincinnati or Texas Tech or whatever, but
I don't know.
You're not generating as much. That's why when people say they deserve an equal chance, but they don't do as much.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't know if it seems arbitrary to cut it off like at 100 million, but like I say, I mean,
I can try and count them real quick while you're talking.
No,
this is at least 40 teams.
40 teams. Well, it was only going to be like if you had all of the Power Five, it was only going to be like 60 something, right?
Yeah, about like 68 or 64 or 70 or something like that. And frankly, we don't need all of them. And if you told me, hey, we're going to put Texas Tech in and kick Vandy out, I'm cool with that. I mean, because I don't think Vandy's going to up their football game enough to now. If they were to get in this scenario, let's say we had 40 teams,
and this is just for football.
I would assume it's only for football. Now, but the problem would be because it's only for football, what's going to happen is all the other sports would eventually benefit because that division would make so much money that that money would roll over into basketball and whatever, and then eventually you'd go away. So, and again, I know there are a lot of people out there that love the whole March Madness idea, and they love it when Mercer beats Duke. I don't. I want to see the best teams play. I don't mind an upset. I don't mind it, but I don't like it when Loyola Chicago's in the Final Four. That ain't my favorite thing. I'd rather have a Final Four with Duke, UCLA, Michigan
You're in
State.
the vast minority of that, though.
I probably am.
Okay.
But now I'll say
because please don't screw with the NCAA tournament.
But that's going to happen. If this happens, that's going to happen.
I don't think so.
Andy, it's all follow the money.
NCAA, though, runs the NCAA tournament.
Guess what's going to be gone not too long from now?
Well, we'll see.
I mean, if
people
they do
been
this,
saying
why do they need the NCAA?
People have been saying that for 10 years now.
No, people. The NCAA tried to reflex their muscles. It's come back to bite them in the butt. Then they showed they had no leadership ability. Now, the NCAA president is trying to come out with this apparently, but what the powers that be may say, yeah, that's a great idea. We're going to do it and we don't need you. And we'll make our own rules and we'll enforce our own stuff because you guys can't do it.
Yeah.
That's what I would do. I mean, if you're letting Michigan continue to play under these circumstances, yeah, I'd do that.
Well, I mean, I think it would be best for everybody to have 2 national champions or 3 national champions, however you want to divide it up. I mean, have the one that means something, and then but let these other smaller schools have a chance to win something. I think that would actually motivate them to do more.
And maybe you do it like soccer. Again, I'm not super familiar with the Premier League.
Increase your budget, you get into the big boy
exactly
club.
And we don't even necessarily have to kick anybody out.
No.
Now maybe here's what's going to suck, Andy. If you go to something like this, do you just get rid of SEC? I mean, do you get rid of because do you go to people keep talking about college football is the only sport that can't figure out how to do it on the field. Well, and the NFL does it. And can you imagine the NFL having a committee to see? Well, no, but there's only 32 NFL teams. It is completely designed to make everything as equal as it can be, salary caps, what have you. And the team, they have a draft, so you're not out recruiting. And so it doesn't matter if you're I don't know, let's pick a team in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where there's not as much talent base as there is in, say, Jacksonville, Florida. It doesn't matter because you're drafting everybody. And we're never going to draft in college because you can't make somebody go to school somewhere. You can't say, yeah, you have to go to the University of Alabama, son. I'm sorry. You have to go to Auburn. That's where they picked you. They picked you number 3 in the draft. No, that's stupid. And I don't want anybody to do that. I want people to go to school because they want to go there or because that's where they get the most NIL money.
Yeah.
Which makes a lot more sense now.
We're up against the end of the first hour, but never fear, we'll be back with hour number 2 of Sports Blitz Live right after these messages.
GillsOpelika.info. Get pre-approved in minutes online at GillsOpelika.info for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Gills Auto Sales, 1430 Gateway Drive in Opelika.
The coast is here. Wharf Casual Seafood is serving up all your favorites: shrimp and grits, po' boys, tacos, seafood platters, and so much more. Don't miss out on our famous loaded fried green tomatoes. Wharf Casual Seafood is located on Highway 280 next to Regions Bank.
The Alabama Slammer. It's a popular drink at parties, but drink too many and you'll wind up in this Alabama Slammer. And if you drink and drive, get ready for a real Alabama Slammer. If you're involved in a crash where a driver's been drinking, you're 4 times more likely to die.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
I'm Jimmy Goree with Goree's Furniture. We would like to invite you to come shop our huge selection of furniture. But if you don't have time, we have over 2,000 items you can have shipped directly to your home. Go to GoreesFurniture.com, look for 48-hour quick ship. Shop, click, ship, it's just that easy. You can shop us here, or you can shop us online, only at Goree's Furniture.
Your express way to saving.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live, hour number 2. Andy Graham and Luke Robinson here with you for another 60 minutes, taking you up to 9 o'clock. It's been a fun first hour of the show. Obviously, the college football playoff, a lot of conversation about that, a lot of discussion about that. Some great conference games that kind of got overshadowed, but nonetheless, congratulations to all those conference winners. We'll start off the second hour here talking about some other possible champions. Super 7 coming up in the next few days. What is it? Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night
Central Phoenix
is
City and Thompson.
Central Phoenix City and Thompson. That is the big one, obviously. Thompson going for something that has not been done in a very long time, and that's winning five straight national, 5 straight state titles. So, who was the other one? The other one was I saw that it came across. I can't remember now. Hazelwood.
Hazelwood probably did it. I'm not sure who it was, but it probably was.
I think that may be right. So so let's look at these. Luke, you will be calling a couple of these games. The AHSAA radio network will be covering all these for you. So. If you don't have a chance to watch it, you can listen to it. They'll be broadcasting on the AHSAA radio network. Class 1A, Coosa Christian and Leroy. Leroy 13-0, Coosa Christian 9-5, but that's a little misleading because they had to forfeit at least 4 of those. They may have to forfeit all 5. I don't know.
I'm not sure, but yeah, you're right. Coosa Christian's very good.
They're very good. Leroy ain't bad.
No, that's going to be a great game.
Yeah, that one is Thursday at 3 o'clock. Who you liking that one?
Oh boy, I'm going to take Coosa Christian.
Hard to judging by some of the scores that have come across there. Leroy has been around for a while. They've won a couple, I think. But I'm with you. I think Coosa Christian, they got mad when they had to forfeit these games. And I guess it was an illegal player. I don't know.
But they were beating people like 50 to 9.
Yeah, it was not pretty. Class 2A, this is the one I'm very much interested in, and everyone around these parts. Fife, who is 13-1, they lost the opener against Geraldine and have not lost since. Geraldine's a 4A team, maybe. They will play Reeltown. Reeltown undefeated. They beat B.B. Comer last week in Sylacauga, which is where B.B. Comer is located, and had not kicked a field goal all year long. Lined up with 1 second left and banked it off the upright.
Yeah. The only way it could happen.
I mean, how long was the field goal? Do you know?
It wasn't long.
Okay. I wouldn't imagine. But that one's going to be
11 yards.
That one's going to be a lot of fun. That one at Friday at 3 o'clock. Who you like?
I'm going to go with Reeltown. I'm going to stay a little bit close.
They are beating people's brains in all year long. I don't think they've played a close game until BB Comer.
Fife's a problem, though. Fife's just a machine.
They're
they roll out there. It
really
looks like
good.
the same bunch of dudes every year.
Yeah, it's tough. They are like Novocaine. It works every time, right? Class 3A, we got Mobile Christian 14-0 versus Madison Academy 14-0. This one Thursday at 11 o'clock in the morning here.
Yeah, that's one I'll be calling. Boy, Madison Academy, they get a big win.
Then you shouldn't pick this one.
I'm not. Madison Academy, they get a big win to they get 2 last-second wins in a row to make it to the championship game. That's going to be tough. It's going to be just a great game. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Class 4A, we got Montgomery Catholic. Yet again, here's their chance to win a state title.
Yep.
They are 14-0 versus Cherokee County, 13-1. This one Friday at 11 in the morning.
Yeah, calling that one too. And look, Montgomery Catholic's led by Caleb McCreary as a Troy commit, a very good player, quarterback. This one's going to be a hard-fought game as well because Cherokee County always seems to be pretty good as well.
Yeah. Class 5A, Gulf Shores undefeated. Whatever happened to that whole kerfuffle that was going on down there?
I got kerfuffled.
Okay. Yeah. They are playing Ramsey, who is 12-2. Ramsey's been really, really good.
I love
this one Thursday at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, I love this Ramsey team.
Gulf Shores pretty good.
They got some dudes, and I think the Gulf Shores has Ronnie Royal on that team. He's committed to NC State, very good player. So, yeah, QB Reese is the linebacker for Ramsey, and he's fantastic. He just tackles everybody. You know, he reminds me of a little bit is Deshaun Davis, who played at Auburn. Just makes a gazillion tackles. He's not the biggest. He's not the fastest. He's not the strongest. Just knows where to be.
Yeah. Who you liking that one? You're not calling that one?
I'm not calling that one. Boy, Gulf Shores is so good, but I can't. I think I'm going to take Ramsey.
I'll take Gulf Shores in that one. All right, 6A, we got Saraland 14-0 versus Clay Chalkville 13-0. This one Friday at 7 o'clock as well. Whew, Saraland. It's going to be a really, really fun game.
Saraland, led by K.J. Lacey, committed to Texas. Ryan Williams committed to Alabama. He's probably going to announce he's reclassifying here in about a week. So he could be in Tuscaloosa next year. And boy, you talk about a receiver class from the state of Alabama with Cam Coleman, Perry Thompson, Ryan Williams, Bryce Kane, Malcolm Simmons, a lot of dudes playing receiver this year in the state of Alabama. And then Jalen Mbakwe. Well, they also have Antonio Coleman down there, who's a youngster committed to Alabama as well. But then on the other side, Clay Chalkville, we got Jaquan McCoy, who is 6'8". He's a huge monster human being committed to Oregon. And Jalen Mbakwe, who's going to play defensive back at Alabama, but he's playing quarterback for Clay Chalkville. And, yeah, he does a lot of scrambling and making plays with his legs. But he's got a pretty good ball. And they got a kid named Mario Craver. I'm not sure where he's going. Another fantastic receiver in the state of Alabama. I'm not sure where he's going, but he's a really good player. So this might be the game of the whole week.
D'Angelo Benton also plays Clay Chalkville, right?
That's right. D'Angelo Benton does play for Clay Chalkville. Very good player, linebacker. He makes a lot of tackles. I'm telling you, it's got prospects everywhere.
Class 7A. Central Phoenix City and Thompson. This one tomorrow night, 7 o'clock. They get the prime time and the lone venue there.
I hate that I don't get to see that game, but I'm not going to be able to. And Phoenix City, I like their quarterback. Of course, you like Cam Coleman. They've got some younger receivers too. Then on the other side, Thompson's got Trent Seaborn, who's a ninth grader at quarterback, who's won a state championship last year as an eighth grader. They got Anquan Fagans, defensive back, very good player. They've got another kid in the defensive backfield that's committed to Auburn.
Caleb Harris.
Caleb Harris, that's his name. They've got so much talent out there. I guess I'm gonna pick Thompson just by a little bit, but I mean I could see Central Phoenix City winning this easily. I'm just picking Thompson because if you've picked against Thompson, the last 4 times you've been wrong.
Yeah. I'm going to go with Central Phoenix City. I think they've got the better team this year.
Probably.
I don't think they've had the better team in the last couple of matchups. But, by the way, Saraland, I think I'll go with Saraland.
I'm with you on that.
Okay.
Look, I didn't imagine. But Saraland's so good. I think Saraland might be the best team in the state. They are just phenomenal.
They're very, very good. Got to take a break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with more right after this.
GillsOpelika.info. Get pre-approved in minutes online at GillsOpelika.info for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV from Gills Auto Sales, 1430 Gateway Drive in Opelika.
The coast is here. Wharf Casual Seafood is serving up all your favorites: shrimp and grits, po' boys, tacos, seafood platters, and so much more. Don't miss out on our famous loaded fried green tomatoes. Wharf Casual Seafood is located on Highway 280 next to Regions Bank.
The Alabama Slammer. It's a popular drink at parties, but drink too many and you'll wind up in this Alabama Slammer. And if you drink and drive, get ready for a real Alabama Slammer. If you're involved in a crash where a driver's been drinking, you're 4 times more likely to die.
Drive safe, Alabama. A message from your Alabama Department of Transportation.
There's only one clear choice in the Lake Martin area for plumbing, heating, and air. That's All Clear Plumbing and Air. Our professionally trained technicians offer full-service repair and installation on all major brands. From drips to water heaters, thermostats to entire air conditioning and heating systems, and everything in between. Our fast, reliable, and guaranteed top-notch customer service will keep you informed and up to speed through the entire process. Call us today or look for us on Facebook and Instagram at All Clear Plumbing and Air, 256-496-2056. License number 19172.
If you haven't been to Big B Barbecue in Alex City, then you're missing the best barbecue around. Big B has everything from the best pulled or chopped pork, chicken, and beef to cheeseburgers and grilled chicken salads. Bring your friends and family out for a great dinner and sit outside on our beautiful patio, or sit inside and enjoy your meal by the fireplace. So come in and join us and enjoy the best barbecue in the area only at Big B Barbecue, located on Highway 22 West in Alex City.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with a service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
I'm Jimmy Goree with Goree's Furniture. We would like to invite you to come shop our huge selection of furniture. But if you don't have time, we have over 2,000 items you can have shipped directly to your home. Go to GoreesFurniture.com, look for 48-hour quick ship. Shop, click, ship, it's just that easy. You can shop us here, or you can shop us online, only at Goree's Furniture.
Your express way to saving.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live. Andy and Luke here with you. It's time, what they've all been waiting for. 80s movies bracket.
Ready.
We have been counting this down. Again, just to recap, not my list, not a list I agree with, but a list that I found on the internet. All right, so.
Do you have more of a problem with the College Football Playoff Selection Committee or this movie committee?
I think the movie committee is terrible.
The movie committee is much worse. Look, if you're a Florida State fan, you're mad about that. Read this movie list. And
I know that. Yeah, really
could have been worse.
Yeah, they actually did some research.
Yeah.
At least the football committee, I'm sure. All right, just to kind of recap, we had in the previous round a airplane do the right thing matchup, which was a blowout. We'll run away. We had a Breakfast Club Shining matchup.
Please don't say breakfast.
Which
we went through this last week. It's breakfast.
It is not. It's breakfast. We went through this. It is. So we had a Breakfast Club The Shining matchup, which was a buzzer beater, but I conceded and said, okay.
The Shining didn't kick a field goal all year.
Yeah.
And they bounced it in.
They bounced
off the upright.
Off the top of the maze. Fast Times versus Raiders of the Lost Ark. Raiders of the Lost Ark got through. It was a tight game. But
topless Phoebe Cates can only take you so far.
This is true. And Die Hard versus E.T. Die Hard crushed E.T.
Obliterated.
It was an unfortunate matchup for the young alien. So we got Raiders and Die Hard.
He couldn't even stick his finger up his, you know the story.
Yeah. Raiders and Die Hard, Airplane, and The Shining. It should be an interesting Final Four here.
All right, give me the first matchup.
We'll go with The Shining, a 16 seed. The Shining, a 4 seed versus the 16 seed Airplane. These are both iconic films. Wow. But they're so different. It is so completely, atypical genres here.
I know.
I don't even know how to categorize it.
Depends on your mood. But, here's the thing. I think airplane can lift you up, or if you're up, it can lift you even higher. Whereas The Shining it's a psychological thriller. It's going to bend with your mind a little bit, and I can't watch The Shining at any time. If Airplane's on, I'm watching it. That's my tiebreaker.
I've seen Airplane about 47 times. I've seen The Shining maybe 3.
Because
I can't watch. It's not a movie you can just watch anytime.
Look,
number one, it's 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, well, and also it's like The Exorcist. Like, I saw The Exorcist one time, and that thing is indelible ink on my brain, and I don't need to see it again. Don't want to see it again. Saw enough. I don't want to see it anymore. I could see The Shining again, but I'm not super fired up. I'd be like, well, what else is on? If Airplane's on, we're all sitting down as a family, and we're having a good belly laugh.
Well, there's so many. There's things like in Airplane where, there's so many lines you quote. Don't call me Shirley. All these different things. The Shining, there's that moment when she goes to the typewriter and she starts reading, and all he's been typing forever is, all work and no play makes Jack and the. And that scene right there is almost worth the whole movie.
It is.
And he comes out and, I just want to bash your skull in.
Yeah.
That's great. But I'm with you. It's got to be Airplane.
It's got to be.
It's got to be.
And having Airplane as a 16 seed is so criminal.
Yeah.
Sad.
It is.
You're basically saying Airplane is the Liberty of 80s movies, and they're not.
That's a warped framework or something there. All right, so Airplane moves on.
Airplane moves on to the final.
Who will they take on? Raiders of the Lost Ark versus Die Hard. I know where you're going with this.
And look, I say this with all due respect and love for Harrison Ford. I love him. I love this movie. It made us all interested in whips again. Now, some of you who are a little more submissive or domineering may have enjoyed whips before this movie. But I got to go Die Hard. I think Die Hard is so good. Hans Gruber, it's just so good. Bonnie Bedelia, she's so – the whole thing is so good. Did I say Bonnie Bedelia? I meant Bonnie Bedelia. Bonnie Bedelia. Bonnie – but I can't get Bobby Bedelia. I can't do it. What's her name? Bonnie.
Bonnie. I'm gonna let it go.
Big Bonnie BB is in this, and then the limousine driver.
I never really understood Argyle's role in this movie.
Well,
he just sat there and listened to the music.
They were going to have a minority in the movie, and they sort of split the role up to the nerdy That was what's kind of weird. Like they had the nerdy black guy as the computer guy.
Yeah.
And they instead went with like the other way with like these German henchmen, with the flowing lock, look like Thor.
Yeah.
And then Argyle, of course, beats up the other.
He beats up the other guy, but don't forget about Bell Johnson.
Who?
The black guy cop.
Oh, that's true. That is true. Family Matters was
Family Matters guy. Randall Val Johnson, isn't that his name or something like that?
And I'll tell you, the guy that wasn't the guy who's the principal in Breakfast Club, also the police chief.
Yes, he was.
If there's a more unlikable person, that guy can only play. He can never be a leading role like. I'm going to be the hero. No, people hate your guts. You're the principal in Breakfast Club. You're the police chief who, wanted to fire Family Matters, and you didn't know that they were shooting out the lights. Die Hard is also it dawned on me about foreshadowing. Like in a storytelling, when John McClane goes, glass? Who gives a bleep about glass? And then the rest of the movie, he's running barefoot through all this glass, and he's pulling out like stained glass windows out of his feet. Did you
not
the biggest pieces of glass I've ever seen?
It was not good. It was not good.
And why didn't he think take your shirt off and make a makeshift shoe out of that?
I don't know. I would have cut. He killed how many terrorists? He couldn't find one pair of shoes that fit.
That is true. Like all these Germans were huge and they had really tiny feet.
Yeah, that didn't make sense.
And then how about Hans Gruber, man, with the great accent, the German accent, but when he needed to turn it on and he was Bill, what's his name?
Bill Clay.
And for whatever reason, they had the company directory like in the bowels of the building where they both were.
Yeah. In a place where, it didn't, yeah. Look, I agree with all that. All that's well said. Raiders of the Lost Ark, maybe one of the greatest adventure movies ever made. Now, every sequel that Die Hard spawned was not good. Okay?
No, Die Hard 2 was good.
They were good. It was good, not as good as the first one.
Of course it wasn't as good as the first one.
But, Raiders of the Lost Ark spawned some really good
sequels. Temple of Doom was not good.
It was good. It just wasn't as good as the Raiders.
When the temple priest is getting eaten by the alligator, it's the fakest looking thing that's ever happened. Steven Spielberg's like, I'm mailing this party.
It was 1984 or something.
We had E.T.
And have you seen E.T. lately?
We had Poltergeist.
I agree. This is a colossal matchup for me. Raiders and Die Hard. I love them both. I have to agree that Die Hard would probably move on here, but I do it reluctantly.
You hate to break it. Raiders Lost Ark. Indiana Jones broke his leg in the semifinals.
I feel like Raiders of the Lost Ark is Florida State.
I know. That's what you hate to break it to the family. The fans of Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's going to be Die Hard against Airplane. And if this is a next week thing, I don't know what I'm going to do. I got to think about this.
I think we'll find out next week. Airplane versus Die Hard in a matchup of the greatest 80s movies in this particular list.
So stupid.
We will be back with more Sports Blitz Live right after these messages.
Inspired by the bold bison, Southern Union students blaze new trails every single day. They press forward knowing their SU education will lead them to success. Affordable, accessible, and locally unparalleled. Whether you're transitioning to a university or launching straight into a lucrative career, a degree from SU SCC can help you blaze your path. 3 locations, dedicated faculty and staff, endless possibilities. It's all waiting for you at Southern Union. It's time to venture forward. Register today.
If you're tired of the same old, and you're hungry for something really good, then it's time to go to JR's Sports Bar and Grill. JR's has the best fingers and wings around, and their menu is loaded with appetizers, burgers, salads, and so much more. Follow JR's on their Facebook to keep up with their live music events and drink specials. And if after a long day you just want to stay in, remember JR's delivers. Call in your order at 256-329-2328. JR Sports Bar and Grill, 145 Alabama Street in Alexander City.
If you're looking for something to do in the Lake Martin area, you have to go to Liquor by the Lake. Liquor by the Lake is not only the best place to pick up your hard-to-find liquors and craft beers, there's a bar. An awesome bar serving up specialty cocktails and martinis. And the best bushwhacker and creamsicle drinks at Lake Martin. Make plans to come out for happy hour Fridays from 7 to 9 with half-price beer and cocktails. And there's live entertainment on Thursdays. You can even watch the Alabama and Auburn games and Sunday and Monday night football. Liquor by the Lake located on Highway 49 in the Big Fish Complex near Stillwaters. Open at 1 every day but closed on Wednesday. Come see us.
They say we live in an age of big data, where computers and fancy algorithms are supposed to know you best. But at Country Financial, we know helping you own your future requires, well, something much bigger. Contact your local Country Financial representative and start planning for your future with a personal touch.
When you need an automotive hero, you got to call S&S Discount Tire Pros. With locations in Alexander City and Dayville, we are here to serve you today. From quick services like oil changes and tire rotations to in-depth automotive repairs such as suspensions, brakes, and tune-ups, S&S can take care of all your tire needs. You just have to focus on what's important and love the drive. Call S&S Discount Tire Pros today. We are automotive heroes, and we are here to serve you.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live. Andy and Luke here with you. About 30 more minutes left in tonight's show. Thank you so much for all of you out there being with us. We are brought to you each and every Tuesday evening by JR's Sports Bar and Grill. Wonderful place to have lunch or dinner right here in downtown Alexander City. Great food, great people, and great atmosphere there at JR's Sports Bar and Grill, celebrating 25 years here in the Lake Martin area. Also brought to you by Sunshine Heating and Air for all your heating and cooling needs. It's getting chilly out there. If you don't have that heat pump tuned up, now's the time to do it. Kevin Keel and his crew can help you out there. Give them a call today, Sunshine Heating and Air. The bowl games were announced, some SEC Bowl matchups. What do you think, Luke? The Texas Bowl on Wednesday, December 27th, Texas A&M and Oklahoma State.
There's something about Texas A&M playing old Big 12 foes that I hate.
Why?
It's too familiar.
Okay.
Like, I for a bowl game, I like it to be new. I want it to be, kind of funky, like Texas A&M, Oregon State or something. Something a little different. But it just feels like, that doesn't do anything for me.
Okay. Friday, December the 29th, you got the Gator Bowl, Clemson and Kentucky.
Okay, that one I like. I think they have played moderately recently maybe, but I do like that game. I think that's a fun one. And, Clemson's gotten a lot better since Dabo has gone back to, just keep down a little old Clemson. And Kentucky ended the season by beating Louisville. Pretty good.
Not bad. They're both on an upswing. The Cotton Bowl, you got Missouri versus Ohio State.
I love this opportunity for Missouri. Love it, love it, love it. I think that
it is a big opportunity for them to really put their stamp on it for and look, going into next year.
It's sort of funny now thinking about it, but you remember how Missouri was so close to beating LSU? Now, they gave Georgia fits too, but they were if they had beaten LSU, they only have one loss. Now, they don't get in the playoffs because they don't even go to the championship game, and there's too many other opportunities. But they'd only have one loss. They would have probably – a fourth loss probably knocks Jaden Daniels out of the running for the Heisman. I mean, you can forgive – Jaden Daniels' losses are to three teams
Florida
in the
State,
top 10.
yeah.
I mean, that's not bad. Now, Missouri would have been in the top 10 too, but still, that's 4 losses. It'd be tough. Penix would probably be the favorite, I bet. And also, this debate about who gets in would probably be even less of a debate because now Florida State's best win probably is still LSU with 4 losses. Or maybe Louisville, who's we all know is not very good. So just interesting to think back to that. Their only 2 losses are to LSU at home and Georgia on the road. And Ohio State, how motivated they're going to be. They lost their starting quarterback to the transfer portal. They've already lost Julian Fleming, one of their stud wide receivers from a couple of classes ago.
So is Ohio State, that guy's not even going to play in the bowl game?
I don't think so.
That's interesting.
That's what's – I was talking to somebody about Tyler Buckner and Taiyu Jones-Bell, 2 guys that are transferring out of Alabama. And I said, I'm all for – I mean, look, Ty Buckner did not work it out of Alabama. We already know this. And Jones-Bell was basically on a kind of sort of medical red shirt apparently this year, and he needed to go somewhere else. So
quarterback?
No, he's a wide receiver.
Okay.
But I'm thinking I'm all for those guys still getting their rings, getting whatever. I mean, I am. I mean, and so I kind of hope if I'm Ty Buckner, I'm like, yeah, I want to go in the transfer portal, but I'm going to go to the Rose Bowl. I mean, I'm going to be on the sidelines. And then I'm going to go to Houston if they go to Houston. And I'm going to play for a national championship. And I'm going to get my ring. And then I'm going to go play lacrosse at Notre Dame. And I'm all about it. I'm all for it. I hope that any of these guys transferring out of all these schools, they go to their respective bowls. But I don't think all of them are.
No, probably
Because the way they look at it is probably, like if I'm Kyle McCord, I'm like, I've already announced I'm leaving. They're probably not going to play me. I mean, why would they? So, yeah, I'm probably getting the heck out of here.
Yeah. We'll go ahead and take another quick break. We'll come back. We'll run down the rest of these. More to come right after this.
Hi, this is Brian Bice with Bice Motors. With our all-star lineup of Dodge trucks, Jeep, SUVs, and Chrysler cars, we offer the area team dedicated to making your next vehicle purchase a positive experience. Our sales team offers competitive pricing, and we back up all sales with service department second to none. Bice Motors also offers the area's best selection of pre-owned vehicles. Visit Bice Motors at 2133 Cherokee Road in Alexander City.
Guaranteed lowest price. Buy it at Bice Motors.
Planting season is here, and the Potting Shed Garden Center is happy to give you professional landscaping advice when it comes to planting your shrubs and trees. Auburn's best kept secret will have it all this fall. Mums, pansies, pumpkins, and much more. All an array of colors and sizes, along with beautiful pots and containers, indoor plants, and a great selection of other gardening gifts. It's all at the Potting Shed Garden Shop, where natural elements reign supreme. Located on the corner of Moore's Mill and Society Hill Road in Auburn.
Heritage South Credit Union in Alexander City is your community credit union, and they have been for over 80 years. Heritage South Credit Union proudly serves Tallapoosa, Coosa, Lee, Chambers, Randolph, and Chilton counties. From checking to business accounts, to share savings to club accounts, to their kids club and investments. Visit them online at myhscu.com. Heritage South Credit Union, your community credit union for 80 years. Federally insured by NCUA.
Have you stopped by Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store lately? If you haven't, you should. You'll find great pieces for your favorite do-it-yourself project. Lightly used name brand clothing by Free People, North Face, Matilda Jane, Patagonia, and a whole lot more. And while you're there, don't miss the shoes, decorative pieces, classic and new books, and Auburn and Alabama gear that won't cost you a fortune. So stop and shop at Lifesavers Mission Thrift Store today for a unique thrift experience that won't break the budget. Lifesavers Mission Thrift, located on East University behind Zaxby's.
Lake Area Realty specializes in Lake Martin real estate. They can help simplify your next real estate purchase or sell and have helped many home buyers and sellers through the area buy and sell real estate with precision. Lake Area Realty utilizes powerful marketing tools and knowledge of the lake to help you with your next move. Call your local hometown agency today. Lake Area Realty at 256-825-4800. That's 256-825-4800. Lake Area Realty, helping you find your way home.
Hi, this is Andrew McGreer at Dunning Roofing.
At Dunning Roofing, we specialize in high-quality, premium roofs. We don't build roofs that just meet code requirements. We build quality roofs with premium materials that significantly exceed our competitors' warranties. We put money on your roof, not in our pockets. If you're looking for a top-quality roof, call Dunning Roofing today for your free quote at 256-307-7601 or visit us at DunningRoofingAL.com for more information.
Welcome back, everyone, to Sports Blitz Live. Andy and Luke here with you, running down these bowl game matchups here. Saturday, December the 30th, you got the Peach Bowl, Ole Miss versus Penn State.
Love this game, and in fact, I was trying to talk my wife and let's take the kids to it because a few of my kids have to fly out the next morning on New Year's Eve. And boy, that'd be a fun game to me. Ole Miss and Penn
I think
State.
it's very competitive.
Let me tell you why this is going to be good. You think about all these opt-outs and transfers or whatever. Well, Penn State, Drew Aller is going to come back next year, so he's going to be the starter. Jackson Dart's already announced he's coming back, so he's going to be the starter. And Quinshon Judkins is only a sophomore. He's not going to sit this out. He was just named first team All-SEC, by the way. And I think this is going to be a ton of fun. And, again, another huge opportunity for Ole Miss. If Missouri and Ole Miss can get these wins, how big is that for the perception of the SEC? It may not be right because in the bowl game, I mean, a lot of things, I mean, who's going to really show up? But I think these two games might be a little different because we know Missouri's going to show up. I mean, this is a big deal for Drinkwitz. Now, I'm going to tell you something. I like Drinkwitz more and more. I think he can rub some people the wrong way, but he had a funny comment about Connor Stalions when he was getting ready for Ohio State. You know, he's a good, funny dude. I think he's got stardom written all over him, and he's recruiting really well. They got the number one player in the country by some services. He's out of Missouri, Williams Narari, I think. Very good defensive lineman. They got Luther Burden coming back next year. The quarterback should be back next year. They're going to be strong again. And look, Alabama and Auburn both play them. It wouldn't shock me if Missouri got one or both of them.
They got a pretty good running back, too. Is he a senior?
He's gone. He was a transfer. Yeah, he was first team All-SEC.
He was pretty good. Got Auburn and Maryland in the Music City Bowl.
Man, I mean, you talk about how things come full circle. It never was explicitly said, but Talia Tagovailoa made allusions to the fact that there was a team offering about $1 million for him to transfer there, and everybody assumed it was Auburn because Auburn was looking for a transfer quarterback at the time. And, of course, Talia started out at Alabama, and now he gets to play Auburn in – I mean, it's just weird. This game has a lot of cool things about it, and I think it's going to be a fun one. I mean, Auburn's defensive backs are going to have an opportunity to make up for what a lot of people are blaming them for the Alabama loss. You know,
I wonder if they're even going to play.
I would.
DJ James and Nehemiah Pritchett. They going to the Senior Bowl, I mean.
Keontae Scott said he's coming back. Has he already said that?
I don't think he said it yet.
Okay.
That's what worries me.
If they don't play, I mean, Talia Tagovailoa could have a field day. I mean, he's a good passer. Now, you know, the problem with Maryland is Maryland either shows up and they give you the fight of a lifetime and they may beat you well, or they just don't come at all. Yeah, I think they have a motivation issue, it seems like. But if they're on their game, Maryland can really make this interesting. I think it's a big game for Auburn, too. I mean, of course, if they win, they have a winning season. If they lose, they have a losing season. That's where it is.
It's the first time, if they lose this game, it'll be the first time they had a 3-year losing streak. I mean, 3 years losing record since the 70s. So it's a big, it's a big win. It's a big game.
Better times are coming. But yeah, that's not good.
It's not what you want. No. Yeah, I mean, it's one of these great bowl games that you look at and you say, okay, this team's going to throw it 45 times. This team's going to run it 45 times. It's an interesting matchup.
And I'll tell you something. It's not funny necessarily, but I do know a few people. You know, you can take over-unders at the beginning of the year, win totals, whatever. You know, we do this during the summer, talk about the win totals. And Auburn's was 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
And when it was when you were coming down the stretch, and Auburn was 6-4, and you had New Mexico State and Alabama, you're thinking, well, I mean, beat New Mexico State, cash his check in, and then, lose to Alabama. Well, you lose New Mexico State, and you're like, no way I'm going to win. You're up 4, 4th and 31, and you're thinking, I'm still going to cash this check. It doesn't work out. But I had some horror stories about that from some different folks.
Yeah. Georgia and Florida State in the Orange Bowl.
Look, I think we all know they put Florida State at 5 as a charity case. I mean, there's no way you think Florida State's better than Georgia. They're just not. And certainly Vegas agrees as they're a 14.5-point underdog. I think if Georgia decides, if their players decide, we're going to go make a statement. Every now and again, a team will do that. Alabama did that in 2019. They did that in 2010 when they played Michigan State in 10 and Michigan in 19. They said, we're just going to go beat the heck out of somebody. Now, they didn't beat Michigan quite as badly as they beat that Michigan State team. But that's one of the worst bowl beatdowns I've ever seen. I mean, Alabama could have named its score against Michigan State. And if Georgia decides, hey, we're going to go out there and just do our thing. We're going to go out here and show the world where we should be. I think they beat Florida State to a pulp.
It's about Auburn and Purdue.
Yeah.
That's the last time Auburn was in the Music City Bowl.
Really?
The ReliQuest Bowl, Wisconsin and LSU.
First of all, aren't you glad you're not playing Wisconsin?
Yes.
Aren't you glad you're not playing Iowa?
I'm glad I'm not playing Wisconsin, Minnesota, Northwestern. I wouldn't mind playing Iowa.
Well, you don't want to play. Well, I wouldn't want to play Iowa just for the boredom factor.
Well,
not because you're scared of them.
No.
But when you talk about Purdue, when you talk about Northwestern, Wisconsin, and Minnesota, I'm so there with you. It feels like Auburn's. I know they haven't, but it feels like they've played them a lot. And this is why I'm like, okay, Auburn, Maryland. That's new and cool and kind of fun.
I'm fine with that.
Like it makes sense. Auburn, Michigan State, I don't think Michigan State's bowl eligible, but I'm saying something like that. It's going to be a Big Ten team. LSU, Wisconsin, the only thing I don't like about that quite as much, they did play in a non-con game a few years ago in Lambeau Field.
Yeah, they did.
Wisconsin won it. I think LSU will win this because even though their defense isn't great, I don't think Wisconsin's got the offense to expose it as much as they should. And I think Jaden Daniels, assuming he plays, will go off. Now, here's something, taking this back to Jalen Milroe in Alabama for a second. I was talking to my buddy Jimmy Stein about this. I said, I wonder if Alabama would have been better served now if they had said Jalen Milroe is going to start the bowl game and not Bryce Young. But I thought about that, and I said, I'm happy I got to see Bryce Young one more time. I love Bryce Young. But it probably would have been better. So maybe it's better for LSU if Jaden Daniels sits out for their long-term success. If he sits out and you let Nussmeier quarterback. Now, another thing is, LSU is probably going to be in the transfer portal market for a quarterback. So that's why if I'm LSU, of course you want to see if you want to see Jaden Daniels play all you can. I mean, that's a gift from God to be able to see that man play college football, if you're a fan of him especially. But
I think LSU wins this game with or without him.
I'm with you on that because Nussmeier's pretty good. But if this is an opportunity for LSU to say, okay, Nussmeier, go out there and do your thing and make us believe in you. But if he goes out there and stinks it up, you're like, there's some dudes in the transfer portal, and we're going to go get one.
Yeah, that's true. Iowa and Tennessee in the Citrus Bowl.
Oh, my God. You talk about a game only a mother could love.
Either Iowa will win it 12-10 or Tennessee will win it 21-7.
I think Tennessee could win it by a lot more than that. I think that, the problem is I don't think Iowa has played an offense that can really take the top off. And, they play Michigan, and Michigan's like, look, y'all can play as slow as you want to. We're going to eventually score. You cannot score.
Yeah.
It's literally impossible. You are Luke Robinson, his freshman year in college. You will not score, ever. That's the truth. So, boy, I hate that I was even in a bowl game. They're 10-3. Is that what they are?
Yeah.
And they're so. I mean, it's so. They're over under in the first half of the Big Ten championship game was a half a point. If they score a point, you cover. If They didn't score one the whole game.
No, they did not. They're not. They're
awful.
They're tough. It's tough to watch.
I mean, it's going to be I'm going to tell you, if they score 10 points on Tennessee, the defensive coordinator ought to be fired. I don't know another way to say this. I mean, you hate to put so much on a meaningless bowl game, but I think this requires it.
Yeah. All I want is for him to be fired. All right, we got to take a break, but don't go anywhere. We'll come back with one final segment right after this.
Have you met your local farmer's insurance agent, Patrick Holina? He proudly serves Tallapoosa County and Alexander City families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Holina Agency at 256-234-0037 or stop in today at 704 Commerce Drive to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Holina Agency, 256-234-0037.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
At C&T Electric, our clients are our priority. For the safety and security of your family and home, our technicians are professionally trained, drug tested, background checked, and wear uniforms with name tags. We're proud to have served the Elk City, Dadeville, and Lake Martin areas for the past 10 years. Give us a call at 256-234-0007 for all your electrical service and repair needs, or visit us on the web at www.cntelectricllc.com and spell out the word "and."
The food at Oscar's Cafe makes your mouth water. At Oscar's, enjoy great tasting catfish, or maybe you're just in the mood for one of Oscar's fresh salads. Even kids know the place for a fine meal is Oscar's with a great kids menu. Oscar's also has great tasting burgers full of backyard flavor. So come on out to Oscar's Cafe for great food and homegrown hospitality. We're located on Highway 49 South in Dadeville, just before the Blue Creek Bridge. And remember, it's all fun and games till there's only one cheese ball left.
Life is a sequence of little successes. The story of my Southern Union success began the day I walked on campus, making new friends, mastering a new skill, reaching a personal goal, the encore performance, the first date, the internship, and now, soon, the dream job. That's the story of my Southern Union success. Register for classes and get ready to watch your Southern Union story come to life.
The Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro continues to excel in making sure our clients have a smooth and pleasant experience with home financing needs. Families are struggling to make ends meet due to price increases and high interest rates on credit cards. Monthly debt can cripple a family from enjoying the special times in life. Property values are holding strong, and now is the time to take advantage of the equity in your home, saving hundreds of dollars a month. No money out of pocket and no payment until January 2024. Call the Eric McKinley team at Mortgage Pro today.
Lake Area Realty specializes in Lake Martin real estate. They can help simplify your next real estate purchase or sell and have helped many home buyers and sellers through the area buy and sell real estate with precision. Lake Area Realty utilizes powerful marketing tools and knowledge of the lake to help you with your next move. Call your local hometown agency today, Lake Area Realty, at 256-825-4800. That's 256-825-4800. Lake Area Realty, helping you find your way home.
Welcome back, everyone, to the final segment of Sportz Blitz Live on this Tuesday evening. All right, early thoughts on Alabama, Michigan.
I'll say this. I was a little shocked to see Michigan was favored. It feels like still.
I think that was collusion.
Yeah. It feels like still that, this Michigan squad, the way they set up, is not a great matchup when it comes to Alabama for the Wolverines because, look, I watched a lot of that Penn State game and Michigan-Penn State. Michigan didn't attempt to pass in the second half. Now,
didn't have to.
Okay, you say they didn't have to. I get that. But what that does is you get into that mode, and it's like when you have to, then what? Against Ohio State, they were fine. I think both teams looked a little less than. Now, Alabama's a little less than they normally are. It wasn't. Let's also call a spade a spade. It's not a great year for college football. It's a great year in the sense that, there were a lot of people vying for spots. There's no super dominant team. Even Georgia, they had problems at Auburn, problems with Missouri. They obviously couldn't beat Alabama. They had problems with Georgia Tech for a minute. So I think that it was just, there's not a dominant team, which should make this a little bit more fun in the sense that I think Washington, Texas is going to be a lot of fun. But going back to Alabama, Michigan, I don't think Michigan's seen a quarterback that can do what Jalen Milroe can do. Now, Milroe also, if he makes the same mistakes like he did against against Auburn, Michigan's going to make him pay. They're better defensively. They're really good defensively. But Michigan's strength of schedule is not very good at all. Outside of Ohio State, I guess if you want to throw in Penn State, they played absolutely nobody. But, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's a fantastic venue. The Rose Bowl itself, every time I've been there, I've thought it's a dump except for the view. Like, the view is unbeatable. I mean, it's unbeatable. I mean, the field is gorgeous. The layout's pretty cool, all that. But the stadium itself, I'm not impressed with. And getting there is kind of, tell you a story. My wife and I went to see U2 there years ago and she was pregnant. And as we're walking, you have to walk through like this big neighborhood to get there. It's like in a random spot. And it makes it very difficult to get picked up by Uber or whatever afterwards. And so we're walking and she's like, I got to go to the bathroom. When you're pregnant, it's like when you say I got to go to the bathroom, you got to go like you don't have any time. Well, luckily we're walking by. There was a sort of a church or something there sort of amidst this neighborhood. And we walk in and they're having a Latino wedding. And we just sort of walk in. We're dressed like we're going to a U2 concert. We're not dressed like, and she runs to the bathroom and I'm standing there just looking, and everybody's looking at me like, who's this guy? And eventually, we're almost out the door and somebody stops and said, are you with the groom or bride? We said, no. She said, what are you doing here? I said, my wife had to go to the bathroom. And she looked at me like, and I said, but she's pregnant. She's pregnant. She goes, just go and don't come back. I was like, we're not going to keep coming back. But yeah, and then of course, Texas and Washington, that should be fun. I mean, a lot of good receivers. Xavier Worthy, Adunze for Washington's really good. Some good quarterbacks. I just think it's a great playoff setup. I mean, I would have thought the same if Oregon had gotten in too, or if Alabama had lost and Georgia gets in and it's Georgia, Texas. God Almighty, that would have been good. That would have been good. I mean, Alabama, because I really believe Texas gets in still over Florida State, don't you?
Yeah.
So you think that if you think –
No, I don't.
You think Florida State would have gotten in?
Yeah.
Over Texas. Tell me why. Because they're the 3 seed.
Well, yeah, with the committee voting, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Now, Rick Neuhauser has a theory that he said, look, we feel like Texas is better. We feel like Alabama's better team. They're the better team. They deserve to be in there. The SEC champs have never been left out. We need to put them in. But if we put Alabama in, we have to put Texas in because Texas beat Alabama. And if we put Texas in, we got to put them ahead of Alabama. He says his theory is they really wanted Alabama to be the 3 and play Washington in New Orleans and probably Florida State to be the 4, be the sacrificial lamb at the Rose Bowl. But they were like, if we put Alabama in, we feel like we have to put Texas in. And I mean, that sort of worked out the best for everybody except Florida State because, you could make an argument for all these teams, but in the end, I really feel I would have done the same thing the committee did.
That's going to wrap it up for us tonight. Thank you so much for all of you out there being with us. We'll be with you next Tuesday. Be sure to join us then. Be sure to tune in to the Auburn Blitz tomorrow at noon. He's Luke Robinson. I'm Andy Graham. So long for now. We'll talk again soon.
If you're seeing the American cockroach, throw up the red flag. Ladybugs, throw up the red flag. Ants and swarming termites, throw up the red flag. And kudzu bugs, throw up the red flag. That's red flag pest control. So the caution is on. Call Red Flag Pest Control today.
I'm Scott Davis with Red Flag Pest Control. Call me today, 256-825-0430.
Have you met your local Farmers Insurance agent, Patrick Holina? He proudly serves Tallapoosa County and Alexander City families and businesses and is ready to review your existing policies or provide a no-obligation quote today. Call the Holina Agency at 256-234-0037 or stop in today at 704 Commerce Drive to get smarter about your insurance. Again, that's the Holina Agency, 256-234-0037.
We are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum.
Underwritten by Farmers Truck Fire Insurance Exchanges and Affiliates. Products not available in every state.
So you want to build a home? Build the home you want with America's Home Place. Choose from over 150 floor plans. Then personalize. Tile backsplash with granite countertops? Done. A spacious bathroom you've always dreamed of? You got it. Choose every detail. Floors, cabinets, even the paint color.
How about electric lime?
Can't decide? Relax. At America's Home Place, we take care of it all. It's your home. Own it. America's Home Place.